loves it. He's been having a great time.
Yay.
Kind of bopping around in the snow. We did not think that he would be comfortable in the snow. He seems like he's pretty whiny, and like very, very whiny when he needs to go out, when he and not even when he needs to go out, he whines.
He's very vocal, yeah.
But
about what he wants. Yeah. Whoops.
Vocal, barking or whining. But and I don't mean that as a pejorative, like he's just whining,
Right.
But he does have he is pretty vocal when it comes to barking and whining. But yeah, sometimes it's to go outside, but other times it's just, I don't know what.
You don't know what's going on in his little head. He's got something in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a baby that's, trying to figure that out. So
yeah, he most likely has a reason, but it's whether we understand it or not is probably, that's funny. Yeah.
Right.
Lolly, my little cattle dog, is right down here. Her thing is whining when she wants something. That's her thing. Yeah. And I probably have reinforced that inadvertently. I try not to, but sometimes it just happens. Because you just feel like you don't want them to stop, so you just like give them what they want because they're driving you nuts.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know that Kira with Millie got in touch, and they've been losing power, and they lost power again this morning, so they definitely won't be joining us. I hadn't heard anything from Shane and Darren with Reba.
Okay.
So or JC Eric with Bailey. So they may come in late. Could be they've lost power too. I didn't really realize that so many people had lost power. Did you guys lose power at all? No, me either. Me and my brother didn't.
No, I mean our one of our lights has been flickering occasionally, but I don't know if that's because of the light bulb. It seems like it's the light bulb because the TV, when that happens, the TV hasn't
been doing anything. Yeah,
but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was worried. I'm gonna turn my heater up just 1 second.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just get rolling, and if they join, then they can just like pick right up.
Okay.
First, I just wanted, so I'm going to just be sending out some electronic certificates, and now if these other guys don't show up, I'll get in touch with them. I just want to make sure the name is spelled right. I'm pretty sure I have it right with Kavik, Kavik.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Gunther was Gunther.
Yeah, with a pretentious umlaut over the U.
Oh, that's right. I don't know how to do that. Is that just like a? So no, it's hilarious. I forgot about that. Pretentious.
It's you can on a Apple device, Tammy. I don't know if you have one, but you can. It's usually like a combination of keys. Like you press the Option key and then the U and then the U again. Sometimes it's usually like some kind of combination.
I don't know if I'll be able to reflect that, but yeah, maybe you'll just have to.
It's okay.
We can imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to add.
Okay. Just wanted to talk just a little bit. Dane, you probably, with Angela. Marie Angela is one of our plucky, his partner is one of our plucky puppy trainers. So I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but.
Awesome. No, I remember him saying that she was a trainer, but I didn't know.
Yeah, she's with Plucky Puppy too. So anyway, Dane, you probably know all this already, but just going forward with for Marie and Kavik, just a reminder that we do have a Kinderpuppy too. If you decide you want to go further, Brittany, one of our instructors, teaches that. I don't know. You just can check our website to see when that might be coming up. I always recommend, all of us actually do, the trainers, suggest you might take a little break, but it's not really necessary. But if you want to take a little break before you like bit off a whole nother round of classes. Another one is basic manners, though we're not really offering that right now, but that could change. And that's just for any adult dog. And it's something to consider in the future. It just, there's maybe one or two new behaviors, but it also will just like solidify some of the behaviors that you've been learning in this class, especially if you take a break and then you can start back up and then maybe take your skills a little bit further. Also, of course, all the puppy socials. I think you said you've been taking Kavik to some such socials. Okay, good.
Yeah, to Puckstar. They canceled today because of the ice. But
Yeah,
we can go on the
understandably
Puckstar
so.
street.
Yeah. Well, when they shut down mass transit, really, that's people's only resort at that, you know, when
Yeah.
it's like this. So
Yeah.
so I've seen everything closing. The stores around here are closed. I'm sure that's kind of the way it is across the whole town. Because I mean, at that point, unless you're in walking distance, you can't.
Mhm.
You know, if you don't have any employees, then you can't really be open. But and
Yeah,
then
we
there's some.
had to close work too.
Okay, yeah, and and I know Gunther's been going to socials. He's like a social alumni, social pro. Um, has his brother been coming to any of the other ones? Fauci? Has he been coming
Yeah,
and play? Or
we
they've been playing together? Yeah, his
yeah,
sibling has been coming to the socials too. Gunther's sibling. Yeah,
yeah.
it was Marie. At first, it was not pretty. They were not playing very well together.
Oh.
It was a nightmare. I mean, they were tipping each other over and getting so over aroused that, well,
Yeah.
Fauci we had to, actually, we let Fauci stay just because it was easier for them to take Gunther home. Dane took Gunther back home. But the last time I saw them together, they were much better. So,
Yeah, they made a lot of progress. They
Good.
seem to be uh, getting playing more appropriately and getting less aroused in those situations.
Good.
Yeah,
Glad to hear it. It seemed like it was going that direction.
Yeah.
Fauci is actually one of my dog walking clients now. I haven't actually started taking care of him, but his Albert and Aiden, his housemates, I've been caring for. And it looks like I'm going to start doing some stuff with Fauci soon.
Oh, cool.
Let's see. Oh, and some adolescent socials once they max out. Pupstar, so you'll be on board with that. So I'm sure they'll probably let you know about that. And also Sit Stay Fit does some older puppy socials as well. And another good source of information, especially for you, Marie, Dane has Angela in the house, so he's for reference. But Kiko Pup on YouTube, and I'm going to put this in. I'm going to send some notes home. A little bit of homework and just some resources when I send out the certificates. Kiko Pup on YouTube is just amazing for continuing education, and I'll have.
I've been following her for a while now.
So I love her. She really explains things and breaks things down in tiny little bits. So yeah, that's great that you're already on board with her. So the other thing I was just going to talk briefly about is let me make sure there's nobody came in. Nope, nobody's here. Kind of thought that might be the case today with the crazy weather. We are in Zoom, but still just kind of tilts everything out of balance. Personally, I've been loving it, but I know it's not always fun for everybody. But I love the snow. I was born and raised in Texas. So usually we didn't get much weather like that. I mean, I hear they're getting some now, but that was not the norm. It would usually be, I go to sleep at night and they would say it was supposed to snow the next morning. I wake up the next morning, I'd throw open the blinds and then my heart would drop because it would just be nothing. I mean, nothing. So yeah. And then I moved to LA, which we got nothing there. Okay. And then San Francisco, which never snowed there either. So when I came to Portland, I was like, oh my God, they said it was going to snow and it snowed. And as a matter of fact, they didn't say it was going to snow and there's snow in the ground. So it's been really just, anyway, I digress. So I was going to talk a little bit about pet insurance. And I never really did talk about this before in my classes, but this last year, I have been dealing with so many vet bills because I have older dogs, and I feel like it's my duty to encourage my students to look into that. Now, I know Angela got Lemonade, and she's been very happy with that so far. I also, I don't know stories about Bivy, but I mean, firsthand experience, but I do know that they're reasonable. $11 a month, and then they pay for half. The problem is if you keep waiting, then everything that they suffer from is a pre-existing condition. And so then you're kind of screwed. So yeah, pretty much everything that my dogs developed severe, serious illness from that required major vet bills were things that they had already been diagnosed with on a minor level. And so after they had already seen a vet for it, then there was no way. And then so many conditions that came after were related to the diagnosis. So you wind up with nothing that can be insured. So I highly recommend getting in there early. I think Angela mentioned that Lemonade doesn't cover older dogs. I think that's what she said. So that's something to consider, like if you want to sign up with someone that'll take them all the way through the end of their life. Because I guess if you were to get kicked off at some point, that might make it a little tricky, but I don't know that for sure. It might just be something that I'm imagining that I heard about Lemonade. But the one thing that I can say about Lemonade was that Angela said that she submitted her claim and they got back like immediately with the reimbursement. And I don't think that's the case with a lot of these places, you know, though.
Very which is really great. I don't know about the older dogs. There's definitely a lifetime cap, I believe. I'm not sure what that is, but
yeah,
Angela did a bunch of research.
That's what I recall. Yeah,
and broke it down into a like a spreadsheet and compared all the things, and Lemonade turned out to be the best one out of I think maybe 10 or it was something like 10 different options, and that turned out to be that had the most beneficial pros, and so we went with that. But yeah, we're pretty satisfied with them.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. So yeah, if you can do it, I had 5 dogs at one point, and I got insurance on all of them, and I was with, I can't remember the name of the company, but you know, I was paying 5 dogs worth of pet insurance, but like out of the blue, just regularly, they would like raise the rates. Like, and I'd ask why, and the reasons it didn't make any sense. You know, most of my dogs were not full breed, so usually you would get a better price for that. Then they started raising it up on not just my one full breed dog, they started raising it up on my mutt dogs, and I was just like, and they had no good answer. It was like, we are because we can. I mean, that was pretty much it. So yeah, that is definitely a factor that you need to check in with, and I'm betting Angela was taking that into consideration, just that, you know, how often and what is their policy on when they just are just going to raise the price all of a sudden. I mean, before long, it was impossible for me to afford it on all 5 dogs, so then I had to drop them. Another thing, just wanted to mention really quickly, is I really encourage everyone to get ID tags for your puppy, because microchips aren't always reliable, and also microchips require a trip to the vet. And if someone doesn't have a car, or someone has a situation where they can't take the time, maybe they have other dogs with them. That's been a situation with me where I've had my other dogs. Now, if the dog had a tag, I could have just like tied my dogs up and run over there and looked at the tag and gave a call. But because it required taking the dog with me, I, you know, would be unable to help them. And that's, you know, a lot of people have dogs with them when they're out and about. And time is of the essence when a dog is out loose, because any kind of danger can befall them, you know, traffic, is the number one, but any kind of harm. So Petco and Gleason has the little machine, and that's what I did. They were like $5 each. So I might be preaching to the choir here, but I'm going to send this recording out to the other students. So just wanted to mention that, because when they're not tagged, people just are way less likely to intervene and try to help your puppy or your dog or whatever they may be at that point. Okay, so I thought we would move on to leave it. We got to the point, actually, you know what? Strike that. Let's work on stay for a little bit, because I'm going to use Lolly as my demo. Trying to think. I don't think we did turning our back last week. I'm pretty sure we didn't get to that. So so we're going to work a little bit on putting our pups in a stay and see if we can turn away from them a little bit. When we turn our backs away, that makes it a lot more likely that our dogs are going to break their stay, because they really like that eye contact. So it becomes more challenging once we start to try to turn away from them. What I recommend is, when you start, is go ahead and try to do like a half a turn. And if that's too much, then just come back facing them and just try to do maybe a shoulder turn, because even just working with turning your shoulder slightly, some dogs that's still even too much. So then I would recommend just doing a little head turn. I seem to recall Havoc is doing pretty well at the stay, and it seems like last time I saw you doing a stay, it was going pretty well too. So you guys might be
on with him.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the turns are more challenging, so we kind of have to break it down into little pieces for especially for some dogs, so that we didn't all of a sudden just turn completely away. We do it in little pieces where we're just doing slowly, just a little angling away from them and then returning back to them. So I'm going to do a demo with Lolly, and I'm going to turn my back to her. I'm going to try doing a full just a 180 and see if she can handle that. And if not, then I'll do like a 90 degree. And then if not that, then I'm just going to try just a shoulder turn. Again, the biggest consideration when we're working on stay is to make sure we make it easy enough for them to succeed, so that they practice success. And because if we keep putting them in scenarios where they keep failing and breaking their stay, we're not going to make any progress with that. Mommy. Come on here, let's see if we can see you. Okay. Stay. Good girl. Okay. Stay. Good girl. Okay. Nicely done. Kind of surprised me that I got all the way around. So yeah, start out with just doing like a half turn. See if you can be successful with that. And then if that works well, in this scenario, you can go ahead and try to make it a little harder. But if you're working on this in a training session, I would try to get 5 out of 5 before you move on and make it harder with the rule of 5. 3 or 4 out of 5 repetitions, stay there, and 1 or 2, it's definitely too hard and you need to like make it easier. So let's see if we can get some turns with our puppies. So just put that hand out there and be sure and retract your hand after you say the stay. And it can be a sit or a down. The position's not important. It's only important that they do not move from the spot. Oh, challenging. That's great, Marie. Excellent. Nice. I like that you ended the stay. Excuse me. It's pretty cool you're doing it from a down stay. That's can be a little bit more challenging. That looks great. Excellent. See if you get 3 more of those and then try to make it a little bit harder for him. Okay, it's like Gunther's on. I love that outfit. Whoops. Okay, so he just gave you some information. He said, Dane, that's too hard for me, at least right at this moment anyway. Maybe he was capable of doing that at another time, but at this moment in time, it's too difficult. So go ahead and maybe this time just try maybe a half turn or maybe just a shoulder move. Perfect. You found the spot. So I go ahead and release him from his stay. Whoops. After each stay, Dane, go ahead and release him. Give him like a release cue and then toss a treat. Or you slap your thighs just to get him up. So we want to make sure that we end the stay and then he doesn't end the stay. So if you continue to do one repetition after another without ending it, to him it's one long stay. We want it to be individual stays. And we also, one of the reasons we do that too is so that we're sure and release them before they release themselves. Because if you just stand there and do one stay after another, he's eventually going to release himself. And then that kind of defeats the purpose of the stay if he actually chooses. But if you're always the one that ends the stay, then that is the stay, is the fact that you're ending the stay and not him. So to guard against him ending his own stay, after each repetition, go ahead and give him a release. Here he comes. He's coming around the bend. Let's try that one more time. Something's around the other side of the bed that he really wants to get to.
He hears Angela and her sister. They're out in the kitchen, and
that's
so
really that's a big distraction. So what I would say is maybe not keep trying if that's too much, or take that into consideration and maybe just see if you can just get him in a sit and do a quick little stay and then reward him. Just, make the stay almost super, super short, because what we have here is a grandiose distraction that he's trying to work with. So then we need to make sure that what we're asking for lines up with that distraction, that we're not, that we're factoring in that distraction into the difficulty. Because if he can even just do a very short, just a minuscule stay, super short stay, then that's a great success because he's doing it while that big distraction is happening. So give him a call, and then also when he comes to you, make sure you give him a really good reward. See if you can just even get him to recall to you right now.
Okay. He was doing really well the other day when I was working on it. We were even able to get some distance between each other, and then I was able to call him, and he would come, and that was going really well. I think he was just napping for like the first 15 minutes of the Zoom session.
Sure.
So I think he may. He's getting let out right now, so I think he may need to potty.
That's probably So yeah, we'll take a break from that and let him do his business. Just real quick, I'll just again, just a reminder about the rule of 5. 5 out of 5, make it harder. 3 or 4 out of 5. Excuse me. Continue working where you're at, and then only 1 or 2, you're definitely too hard, and you want to make it easier for them. If you can, if you're working on distance, try to return to them before you reward them, mark and reward them if you can, just because it's easier for them with their arousal level to be returned to and then marked and reward. When you get a really good solid stay, then by all means you can call them out of a stay. I mean, that's not written in stone, because Dane, it sounds like you're doing some calls out of stay. If you're, if you're getting some really high levels of success, then I wouldn't worry about it. But I do find that it helps build that foundation better if you just always return back to your puppy. And then just be sure and release them out of the stay when you're done. It seems like both of you guys are doing that. So let's move on to a little recall. Actually, now that he's back, let's see if he can do a stay if he's not too distracted by the goings on. There he is. So, but let's make it short and sweet, Dane. Yeah, he's having a hard time with all that.
He is. It's, I don't know if it's because he wants to go outside. We also have a day boarding dog here, and so there's a lot of distractions going on.
There's a lot, yeah.
So it might be tough to get him to do. I was able to do one spin with him. Let's see.
Oh, there he is. There it is. Excellent. All right. And then just toss a treat to release him. There, that looked great. Okay, fantastic. So let's work on some recall. Might not be the best time for him. Basically, I just wanted to, we don't even necessarily have to do the recall. I just wanted to go over the fact of using a long line, Marie and Dane, if you or want to take Kavik to the park. They're really inexpensive on Amazon. If you're feeling, until you really feel like you've got a solid, I mean, super solid recall, I wouldn't let them off leash. I think you guys already know that in an area where it's not fenced in. But long lines are fantastic. You could get a really lightweight cotton one that would work great for Kavik. Angela, I'm sure, has long lines that she's using with them. I think Gunther's already doing dog park adventures, so I think his recall is pretty solid. So I just thought of that. But yeah, but for Kavik, actually, I'll if I remember, I'll put a link that I send out for the cotton long lines. They're so cool, and also you can take them hiking on it. Just takes a little getting the hang of it, to like maneuvering. I think I have like a 30 foot. I wouldn't go any more than a 30 foot, because otherwise you got so much to deal with. You're going to get tangled up in it and everything. Kavik is really small, so you won't have this worry. Just of, suddenly them pulling, tripping you up because they're so big. So that's good at least. Cotton long line. And what else was I saying about recall? Oh yeah, and then your 5 rules: never call them for anything they don't like. Only call them when you're pretty sure they're going to come, so that you can continue to practice success. Number 3, if you screw up number 2, go and get your dog so that you don't ruin the recall. Number 4, don't repeat the cue or their name. Use a prompting noise, like a clicking sound or a kissy sound, or slap your thighs, jump around, be exciting. But don't continue to say their name or the recall cue, because you will poison it. They will start tuning it out, and then it just won't work anymore. And number 5 is use your highest value treats that you have for recall. It should be the bomb when they come back to you. And I personally, this is just me, but recall is so important to me that even when I call them in the house, even just in the course of a day, I always have treats on me. I just call them out of the back room, for any reason. I just give them a treat. So I just I just love to have that solid recall for safety reasons. If you ever, need it, even if you don't let your dogs off leash, do off leash adventures and things like that. It just, to have a solid recall is just so imperative that your dog will come to you when you call them. So let's work a little bit on, we lost, looks like I lost Dane. Oh, there you are. Let's work a little bit on sit and down and working on, let me just check the time real quick. Looking good. See how you guys are at. I think Dane, we might have been working on adding the verbal last week. I can't remember that. If that's what we did, where we add that we say the verbal, and then we see if they'll do it. If they don't give you the sit or the down on the verbal, then we show it, and that means give them the hand signal. And if they're still not doing it, then I would go ahead and put the food back in and use the lure. And then mark and reward it. Say it, show it, mark it, pay it. So in that order, and that way, by saying the verbal and pausing, we are trying to guard against them blocking out the newer. Oh, that was nice with Kavik. So it looks like he sat on a verbal alone, if I'm reading that right. How's the down coming? Let's try down. Perfect, Marie. That was the exact right order. So we're helping them along. We're asking for it on a verbal first. We don't get it, then we do the hand signal next. And if we're still not getting it, then we put the food back in our hand and we do a lure. So what we're doing is we're making sure, very nice. So that on that time, Kavik went ahead and went down on the hand signal and just give him a little release. Perfect, Marie. So let's see how Dane's doing. So yeah, what we're doing by changing our mode as we go along is we're making sure at some point our dog is going to be successful. We are making sure that at some point we are going to have the behavior so that we can mark and reward it. So let's see where Gunther's at with the verbal. If you can get his attention enough.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling a little bit here.
We'll give it a try, and if it's not. So we're just trying to do we're saying the verbal, and then when they don't do it, oh, there he goes again.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, Dane. Yeah, I mean, he's like, he's on a mission.
I'll give it another shot here.
Yeah, so we're saying the verbal and then seeing if they do it, and if they don't, after a pause, we're going ahead and give them the hand signal.
Okay. Winter. Here, bud.
So I'd go ahead and do it down since he's already in the sit.
Down. We haven't been doing down as much. He responds to the hand signal, but the verbal is going to be tough. But
that's fine. So don't worry about that. So what we will do instead is So what we'll do is just to make sure that whenever you're working on it, you're working on it in this order. You'll say the down, give him a chance. And if he doesn't do it, then go ahead and give him that hand signal. Okay. And then if the hand signal is not enough, then go ahead and put the food back in your hand and give him a lure. So in the end, eventually he's going to start he's going to make that pairing of that verbal with the behavior. But we give it a little pause since he's still not solid on it. We give that pause after we say it. If we say down as we're actually giving the hand signal, they have a tendency to block that. So it's just going to take a lot longer to learn that verbal. So just go ahead. Every time you're working on down, say it first and then just pause a beat. Just in case he does it. Eventually he will, but give him a chance. Just give it a chance to sink in and then go ahead and give him the hand signal. I don't
Okay.
know what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing a major
It's
close up of his.
it's his arm. He's
That's
almost
funny.
on the keyboard.
I was trying to make out that body part. So yeah, so say down, pause, and then give him the hand signal. So we're just trying to ensure
Great.
success, basically, is what we're doing by doing it. Two things. We're ensuring success by changing the mode as we go along. So if they don't do it on the verbal, that's okay. Then they're going to most likely do it on the hand signal. If they don't, that's still okay. Then we'll just put the lure in our hand and give them a lure.
Okay.
At some point, they're going to do it, most likely. And eventually they're going to go ahead and they're going to get that verbal. They will make that connection in their brain. So they will. So just that, I mentioned this before, say it, show it, mark it, pay it. It's just a nice way to remember. You say it, you pause, then you show it. And then I just added in there, by show it, I mean hand signal or the lure, depending on where you're at with the behavior, whatever that might be. But yeah, it's coming along. I can see that it's coming along for both of you guys. So now we're going to work on leave it. Also, I just wanted to add in really quick. So when your dog already has something, leave it is usually not what we use for that. So if they've grabbed something that you don't want them to have, a nice thing to teach them is drop it. And the way you go about that is, so they have that. I can't really do a demo with this one because Lolly's not going to really hold anything in her mouth that I can do it with. But say they have, they grabbed up a shoe. I'll just use that example. And they're running around with it. If they're continuing to run around with it, first of all, don't chase them, because then, now it's a game. If it's something really dangerous, or even if it's not, if you just want them to drop the thing and they're still running around with it, I would throw a cheese party or some kind of super high value treat where you scatter a bunch of something on the floor where they can hear it hit the floor and see it hit the floor. A lot of times your dog will drop the thing and run over to the party. And at that point, you just be ready to swoop in and grab the thing. The other thing you can do, and the better way to deal with this will be to teach the cue drop it. So they have the thing in their mouth. If they have to be not moving for this, so it'll only work if they've actually just standing there. You can approach them, put a treat on their nose, and most likely they will drop the thing in order to grab the treat. So you can release the treat once they've dropped the thing. And so you keep doing that for a number of times till they're, succeeding in dropping it every time you put it to their nose and then giving them the treat. Then what I would do is say, drop it, and then put the thing on the treat on their nose. And when they drop it, release the treat. And to continue to do that for a number of times, a number of successes. And then the hope is eventually you're just going to be able to say drop it, and they're going to release the treat without you having to put it on their nose. And then, of course, when they do drop it, pay it. Go ahead and give them a good treat for that. So first, just put it at their nose until they drop it. And when they drop it, release the treat. Then start interjecting the cue, drop it before you put it on their nose. And then after a number of successes, then try just saying drop it. And if they drop it, then go ahead and reward them for it. If they're still not dropping it, then I would just go ahead and try to do like a scatter feed treat party for them. But if it's something dangerous, then you need to just get it, immediately toss those treats, something loud maybe, or just something colorful, so that you can just get them over to treats to drop the dangerous thing and, be exciting. So let's see, we worked on stay. I think Dane last week worked a lot on loose leash walking, and I think that will be in the homework for last week. I don't know how's that coming on. Have you been getting a chance to work on any of the leash walking at all, Marie? Like rewarding check-ins, rewarding proximity.
Yeah, I was able to do that a lot earlier this week. And then the later part of the week, I actually got the second COVID vaccine, so I have not been feeling well, but
Oh gosh, oh yeah.
I know the snow is here, but we were actually working in the driveway and he was doing really well with it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear. I hope you're feeling better.
I'm feeling much better.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, great. I'm glad to hear that. Well, that's great. I'll probably go ahead and put those notes again in the resources and the homework that I send home. Just what was I going to say? Just I was just mentioning, and if you're not ready to yet commit to never letting them pull at all, just to continue to work on the check-ins and the proximity. Dane, he's so cute. I just can see his little butt in the.
Just working on our sits and downs.
Oh, that's good. He's looking good.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Good to hear. So let's see. Just a reminder to limit those unleashed greetings because they interrupt the greeting chain. And also we just need to teach our puppies that they don't get to meet every dog that they see, and that good things happen when they don't get to greet the dog. They're going to get lots of treats from us. And we're going to mark and reward that calm behavior before they start reacting and saying, please let me meet that other dog. So we're going to work on some leave it really quickly. And I don't know if anybody wants to learn crawl. It looks like Dane already had, I'm sorry, Dane. Gunther already has a good spin going on. Would you like Kavik to learn how to spin? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to get Abigail out and I'll do a little demo of that. And then we'll work on some leave it with her as well. So I'm going to go grab my other demo dog. I'll be right back. Lolly. Okay, for spin, she's ready for, she's already spinning. She's already started her spins. You can't really see her. But for spin, what we do is put it on their nose and we lead them around in a circle. She's already got a pretty good spin. I actually probably should have used Lolly for this one. But put it on their nose and then you spin them around. Good girl. She's already got a good spin. Yep. Good girl. So you put it at their nose and whoops. Oh, she's confused. And then spin them around. You want to try that with Kavik? It has to be a pretty, oh, look at that. He's already got it. That's great. And if you get, oh yeah, Gunther's really good at that. So after a few successes of getting to go around, then you can start, start making the, you can start working towards getting the food out of your hand. See if you can do it without the food this time with Kavik. Whoop, he's like, well, yeah, there it goes. So if you get to the point where you can do it without food in your hand, then I would start interjecting the cue. So say spin and then go down and get that hand signal. Perfect. And then mark and reward it. That looked great. And so when you get that going for spin can be, I've found one that takes quite a while to get a verbal response. You really got to work a long time on that. But once you do, it's so much fun and very entertaining to the masses. People love to watch that. So that looks great, Marie. And looks like Gunther's doing really well with his too. Very good. Very good. When you can get those spins on command without even doing a hand signal, it's very cute. I have both my Chihuahuas doing spins simultaneously. It was synchronized spinning. It was That looks great. So we'll work on a little leave it here. So our first step was food in the hand, presenting it to the face, waiting for them to disengage, mark and rewarding that. Then we moved on to food in our palm last week. Oh, that's one of the things we worked on last week, Dane. We put food right here and then we presented it far enough away to make them successful. And the criteria for food in the palm of our hand was for them not to actually go for it at all, as opposed to when we have food here, we were marking the disengagement. But when we put food in the palm of our hand, we actually don't want them to even try for it at all, because we're trying to build up to what a real life scenario looks like. And that is, we don't want them to go for the thing on the sidewalk at all. So slowly but surely, we're building up to that real life scenario. And now today I'm actually going to lower my open palm onto the floor with the food in it. When food hits the floor, it becomes an extra significant challenge to our dogs because they live on the floor and everything that's down there belongs to them. So even though I've still got it in my hand will be on the floor. So that's more challenging. Even more challenging is to put the food directly on the floor, and that will be the following step. So I'm going to try doing this with Abigail. She's all ready to go here. I'm going to warm her up with the closed hand, and then I'm going to take her into the open palm, and then I'm going to start lowering my hand to the floor. Get me a low value treat in my leave it hand. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. So she didn't go for that at all, which is just exactly what I want. Leave it. Good girl. Now I'm going to try putting it on the floor. Leave it. Good girl. I'm still keeping it far enough away. Leave it. Nicely done. Okay, good job. So the next step is I'm going to try dropping the food directly on the floor. Leave it. Oops. She's not ready for that, looks like. Leave it. Oh, you did it. Good girl. Leave it. Nicely done, Abigail. Good job. Very well. So let's see where you guys are at with this. So let's warm them up with the closed hand and work our way towards that open hand down to the floor. Is Gunther, there he is.
He's on the bed. He's like, he's really having a tough time here, Tammy.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're in the bedroom and the door's closed and he could just hear a bunch of
He
stuff.
hears it all going on.
Yeah, so,
don't worry about it. We don't want to force him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He might be receptive to doing a little leave it. We were working on that method as well previously the other day, and he was doing quite well. So
good. I'm glad to hear it. So maybe try to warm him up with a little closed hand and see if you think he's going to be in the game or not.
Okay.
And if he's not, then you okay? I'll go and work with little Kavik here and see how he's doing. Oh, that's great. Oh yeah, you're ready to go ahead and just place the food on the floor, Marie. That's fantastic. Let's just try it directly on the floor. That's great. And one thing too you can do is kind of have your hand ready. So you place it, here's the treat on the floor, and you kind of have your hand sort of ready. And then if they go for it, you can kind of just cover it up and then let them, and then try it again. And after a couple times, then I'd go back to an easier step. But just kind of like to make sure they don't get it, but it looks like he's not even like going for it. Let's try another, yeah. Okay, now I think you're actually ready for the even next step. And also I want to interject, right now we've been saying leave it and then pausing. Kavik is definitely ready for you to start moving that leave it cue to where you're saying it further and more like it's going to look like in real life. So think about it. When you're out in real life, they're going to see the thing, and then we're going to say leave it. So we slowly want to start moving that leave it cue to where it's right now, it's in front of the behavior that we're working on. So slowly we want to start making it so it's behind it. So for now, just to make a little change in what you're doing, I would say leave it as you're putting the food on the floor.
Leave it.
You might even try putting it on the floor and then saying leave it. Go ahead and try that. Okay, that was great information. So go ahead for you right now. I'd say leave it as you put it on the floor. And if you're getting success with that, you get 5 out of 5 successes with that. Then Marie, what I would try to do is drop the treat from just like a half an inch of a drop. So when you make the food animated, it makes things harder. So we're just giving it a little animation. So that's where I think that's where you're at with Kavik. And as you're getting stronger and stronger foundation with where you're at right now, the next step for you would be to start dropping the food from a little higher and a little higher and a little higher until you're dropping it from pretty far. And when you're dropping it from pretty far above, then you're ready to actually start tossing the food across the floor a little bit. So slowly but surely, we're trying to make it look like the real life scenario. Since we won't be obviously working on this any further, since this is the last class, I'm just trying to sort of talk you through what the next steps will be for Kavik. And just to help you sort of keep the big picture, just picture what it looks like in real life. You see the thing, and then we say leave it. So we're working towards that representation in our training. So that's how you'll kind of tweak out the training as it gets better and better and starting to make the food animated. How far were you along with Gunther? Were you able, I actually don't think you had I think the food in the hand was just, open palm was just last week, but that'll be in last week's homework. And then lowering it to the floor will be in what I send out after this class. And then you'll have the demo and everything. Then you can work with him when he's not having such a humongous distraction going on. That is a big one. But it sounds like you're already having some really good success with him. And for him, it would be a great thing for him to learn, because he goes on these outdoor adventures. Of course, Angela's not always like there to deliver the leave it. So, some of these things, some of the instances won't, pan out because he's going to be off on his own making these decisions. But if she did happen to be there and she could deliver it, if she saw something dangerous, then if he knew that, it would be extremely, could be life-saving for him. So yeah, and just as you're working on leave it, don't use it in real life scenarios yet, because chances are they're not going to leave it, and then they'll just be practicing failure, and then the leave it cue will become irrelevant to them, and they'll just tune it out. It won't mean anything. In a real life scenario, yeah, I just try to get them away from the thing in any way that you can. Okay. I only have like a couple of minutes left. I'm just seeing if there's anything that I wanted to cover really quickly before we call it a day. I am going to put in the resources. We didn't work on jumping. We haven't really been working on that in Kinderpuppy 1, though. That is starting to change a little bit. So I am going to put some a nice little how-to on working on jumping. I'm not sure if Kavik is doing much of that when he's greeting people. Okay, good to know. Some of the other students might be having an issue. How about Gunther? How's his jumping going when he's greeting people?
Doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't noticed him jumping up on people.
Yeah, I didn't really notice it when I was just at the puppy social with him either. It seems like he's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling Angela's probably been sort of working on that already as it goes along. It just even subliminally or just in nuances, just being a trainer, she's probably really helped him with that, I'm sure.
Yep.
Okay, some closing thoughts, just a little bit about dog parks. Marie, I don't know, are you going to dog parks at all with Kavik? Okay, I'm glad to hear that, because with his small size, it could be very dangerous unless there was an actual small dog area. There's something called predatory drift that can happen when a small dog starts to run or yelps, and it can trigger a primitive drive in a dog to actually seize a small dog. So that's why dog parks are tricky anyway, but for a small dog, I would say just don't do it because of that predatory drift danger. Because usually a lot of times when that does, if it happens, it's not that common, but if it does happen, it's usually going in to actually do damage to the dog. So they'll seize the dog and shake it, and that can not be good. And then the dog that actually died from being seized and shaken. So I wasn't a close friend of mine, but just through the grapevine. So unless they have a small dog area, I definitely don't recommend that. Like I said, it is pretty rare, but it's not, it can happen. And it's not anything that you can prevent through training or anything, because it is something that is, in their DNA, and it's, it's a primitive, hark back to the days of hunting. Okay, closing thoughts. Just remember, make it fun. If you're frustrated or they're frustrated, then definitely, like with Gunther today, we weren't going to force him. If he doesn't want to train, then it's just, it's got to be fun. I mean, this is time to bond with our dogs. We want everyone to be all in, and be practicing success. We want to set up the training scenarios so, like I said, that they are getting wins, and sometimes give them an easy win. It's nice to just get an easy win, and kind of ping pong back and forth between easy and more difficult. I think that's it. Try to give your dog a choice. Sometimes dogs don't get many choices, practically none. So if there's ever a moment you can give your dog a opportunity to make a choice, maybe you come to a corner and your dog wants to go one way and you're thinking about going the other way. Well, heck, just go the direction they want to go. Let them have a little power over their lives. Pick the toys they want to play with. Sometimes they don't really have very many opportunities to exercise their independence. So try to help them out with that when you can. And that would be all. I really enjoyed it. And I will send this recording out to actually, you guys won't need this recording. I'll give it to the other guys that missed class today. But and I'll be sending out some certificates and some extra notes just to help you out going forward. And thanks so much. I really enjoy having you guys. And maybe we'll meet again. I know I'll meet you again, Dane. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Daniel.
Tammy. Yeah. Sure.
Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Great class.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.